Okay, this discussion is on a term called LocalHost, and LocalHost is a keyword, I guess, and it means myself. It means this computer. It means the computer that you type localhost in. Specifically, it almost always means 127.0.0.1. That's the IP address of myself. It's another word that often comes into play is loopback. So the term loopback is similar to localhost in that any data that is sent out the Ethernet port is looped back to itself without ever really being sent. So here's 4 uses that I'd like to just briefly cover about localhost. Localhost being 127.0.0.1. And the first use is Groove Server for Windows. The second is Groove Server for Windows talking to SoftPack. The third is SoftPack Control Engine, and the fourth is with R1 and R2 controllers. And hopefully this will be quite familiar to you. But so let's see. This first one here is localhost on Groove Server for Windows. After you do an install of Groove Server for Windows, if I'm sitting at this computer, basically I'll bring up Chrome, which I can do here. You bring up Chrome, and what you'll type in is HTTPS, and there's a couple different ways to do this, but I can type ://localhost. And localhost means myself. So I just installed Groove Server for Windows on here, and this is how I bring it up. Groove Server for Windows is running on this laptop, and it runs as a service, so it's kind of running in the background. It doesn't show up on the taskbar down here. So I type that in, and it says that I need a security certificate, which is kind of our way of showing that it's Groove. This will probably come up. Okay, and there's the login. So localhost is one way to pull that up. Another way to do this, HTTPS://127.0.0.1. That's the loopback IP address, which basically in this case is the same thing as localhost. So when I hit enter with that, it does the same thing. It says, do you want to proceed? And it's going to, in this case, that particular one was cached, so it brought up my my demo application. So that's 2 ways to use localhost on Groove Server for Windows. The another method here. Let's see if I covered these. Well, the other possible way to bring up this Groove Server for Windows on the same PC that I'm running at is to type in my IP address, HTTPS:// I'm at 10.0.1.10, I think, and that should bring up my own computer without using the loopback or the localhost. We'll see if it comes up. It's pretty slow. No, that must not be the right IP. So, anyways, we'll skip that. No. The next thing is Groove Server for Windows connected to SoftPack on the same PC. I don't know if you've used SoftPack, but it's pretty nice. SoftPack will let me run the control strategy inside the computer. So a lot of times where I don't feel like having a controller to do something, I can, especially for demos, I can put something together in SoftPack, and I don't really ever need to hook up any hardware. So when I'm in Groove and I'm going to add a controller, down here it says controller address. I type in 127.0.0.1, so that means myself. The SoftPak is loaded on the same computer as my Groove server for Windows, and that's the IP address I put in. So that's very handy for that. Another thing is SoftPak in itself. When I'm inside Pak Control and I'm setting up the control engine, name I put SoftPak here, and then for the IP address I put in 127.0.0.1, and that means that that Pak Control just goes right to the loopback address or to the local host address, basically to itself, to find SoftPak. The IP traffic, the networking messages never really leave the never really go out on the Ethernet. They stay within local to the machine, and it's very fast, which is quite nice. Let's see, the last thing I've got here is setting up, and you've probably seen this a whole bunch of times. If I've got an R1 and an R2 controller, the I/O unit is LocalHost. And you can see that here. I've added an I/O unit. It's called local. And this is when I'm using an R1 controller. So the type here is SnapPak R1, and you can see that this local box is checked, local loopback, and the IP address put in here is 127.0.0.1. So once again, this is the local address. It's just a way to always refer to your own computer, and it comes in very handy in a lot of cases. So I guess that's LocalHost.